Good evening. It's 6 o'clock on Tuesday, November 15th, 2016. Welcome and thank you for joining us tonight for the English edition of Aura News, where we bring you today's top stories translated into English every weeknight. The EU ambassador Rama Vlahutin asked the Albanian political class to reflect on the European Council's report for Albania and to take care of the aspects that need to be improved. Ambassador Vlahutin called the adoption of the judicial reform a miracle and gave assurance that the reform will be an EU priority until Albania becomes a member of the European Union, regardless of which government is in power. I want to invite all the parties to reflect on the report. Many sources were used to draft the report. The EU member countries have contributed to the report. The aspects which need to be improved are important. The adoption of the judicial reform is quite a miracle. We would have preferred the reform to have been implemented before the EC publicized its report. However, the recommendation is the result of the excellent work by Albanians and various administrations. The implementation of the judicial reform will remain an EU priority for all governments in power until Albania's membership in the EU, declared the EU ambassador. Meanwhile, the chairwoman of the Council of Integration asked the government to consult with the National Council of Integration over the negotiations document. The Union of Judges has appealed the vetting law to the Constitutional Court. According to them, the law is unconstitutional and conflicts with the Venice Commission's opinion. In their remarks, the judges say that they are not against the vetting process, but rather they cannot allow their dignity to be trampled. In a long document, the judges first reject the 30-day deadline for handing over documents once the law is in force. The judges say that 30 days is not enough time to gather all the necessary documents they must present. According to the judges, some provisions of the law have been drafted without considering the Venice Commission's opinion and that they conflict with the Constitution. The judges further add that the law violates several constitutional principles and violates some rights and fundamental freedoms guaranteed by the Constitution. The law provides for assessment of judges and prosecutors by the Inspectorate of Declaration and Audit of Assets and Conflict of Interest, and not by the Independent Qualification Commission. According to the Union of Judges, such a prediction violates the independence of the judiciary, leaving the process of property evaluation under the control of an unconstitutional body. Under the law, the re-evaluation of judges and prosecutors is designed to be made on two levels, an initial assessment and a final assessment, which will be carried out by the constitutional bodies. The President's General Secretary reported today at the Parliamentary Law Commission, where he criticized the government for providing a low budget for the President's office. The General Secretary asked for additional funding from the 2017 budget for the President's office budget. We asked for 20 million lek from the state budget. We are allotted only 10 million lek from the state budget. We have asked for additional funds for investments. We need to improve the IT system. This commission guaranteed funding and that the issue would be solved, but still there is no solution to be found. We will take the issue to Constitutional Court if a solution cannot be provided, he said. The Ministry of Finance agreed to the additional funds, while the chairman of the Parliamentary Law Commission declared that the President's office should have complained in 2013 when it had 30% lower funding. The Democratic Party and the Socialist Movement for Integration MPs supported the President's request. The SMI MP Petrit Vasili had this to say: "How is it possible that institutions do not solve these issues? It's shameful to discuss this for a constitutional institution." The Ministry of Justice budget was also discussed at the Commission. Though the Minister of Justice expressed satisfaction with the funds allocated for the ministry, he asked for a salary increase for police officers assigned to prisons. The Minister of Justice also spoke of the poor conditions at Fushkruya prison, where 500 prisoners suffer from mental illnesses. The minister said that the prison does not offer the right conditions and specific treatments for those in need. For For this reason, the minister announced that a new prison will open in Shkodra and that the Fushkruya prison will be closed after the new prison is opened. Albania's last referendum was held in 1996, and for this reason, some civil society reps, constitutionalists, and representatives of other organizations are asking for a new law for holding a referendum with easier procedures. A meeting was held where the Central Election Commission's chairman declared that referendums are not always a solution and that they are sometimes being organized by populists. According to the CEC's chairman, the popular vote does not always offer a solution. However, the lawyers and constitutionalists think that a referendum cannot be a forbidden apple, especially now that Albania has received the recommendation for opening negotiations. They expressed their belief that they can achieve change with the procedures for holding a referendum if they are all together. The Prime Minister inspected the national road today, which was damaged by last week's extreme rainfall, which caused landslides and put citizens' lives in danger. The Prime Minister highlighted that the absence of a serious geological study during the road's construction has caused a serious situation and stated that the new company contracted to maintain the road will be solving the problem in the future. This problem will be the first thing the company will deal with in order to not have terrible consequences for the future of the project. Work for the road was made without a proper geological study, without following a complete technical process. But I think this will be fixed soon before the road maintenance work starts in order to not have problems, declared the Prime Minister. The Ministry of Interior has launched an awareness campaign over the risks of illegal firearms. State police officers will go in every house and convince the citizens to hand over their firearms. We will start a widespread campaign across Albania, in every city, village, and in every house to gather illegal firearms. This is not easy, but it's something we can achieve together. I want to call on the citizens to hand over the firearms, said the minister. Over 10,000 Albanian citizens have lost their lives or have been seriously wounded by weapons between 1997 and now, the Albanian Minister of Interior said, while launching the awareness campaign against illegal firearms. Albania's young generation should reject the model of keeping unauthorized guns, as they are a constant threat to the citizens and society here, the minister appealed. The campaign to bring awareness to the use of illegal firearms will be made in cooperation with the EU and the United Nations organization, whose representatives guaranteed support for the Ministry of Interior, knowing the initiative to be a challenge. According to a recent survey conducted by IPSOS, over 60% of Albanian citizens are against holding illegal firearms, and 78% of citizens believe that the state police are keeping the country safe. Despite actions by the government and the country's city halls to get children off the streets, the plight of these children continues to be concerning. The high number of minors who are exploited to work is a problem. Also, data gathered from the Labor Inspectorate reveals that in 2016, 190 children were discovered working at manufacturing enterprises and call centers. The Minister of Social Welfare thinks that the new child protection law has stricter measures for parents, including removing the child from their custody if they exploit their children for work or if they exert violence on their children. Albania's OSCE ambassador Bernd Borchardt said that poverty is not a justification for minors to work. The ambassador expressed support for child protection initiatives. The Italian ambassador to our country, Alberto Cattiu, expressed great concern regarding the approximately 1,400 unaccompanied Albanian minors in Italy. That's all for our English edition this evening. Please join us again Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. for your local news in English. My name is Mari, and on behalf of Aura News, thank you and good night.